Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Omar from the Bullish Bears team. It's June 24th, 10:13 a.m. And I wanted to recap my three trades from yesterday. Could have been a monster day for me. Poor execution and lack of patience. Those are the two key things that I took away from my trading yesterday, which could have been a potential 3K day, maybe even more, and wound up being a $330 loss. I had three plays, two losses, and one win. All all the stocks did exactly what I expected them to do. I just didn't have the patience, and I learned on my third play to utilize patience, and it worked. For those of you who don't know, I just opened an account with Centerpoint. I've had it for a week. I have a job, so I'm not able to trade every day. But sometimes when I get a little downtime, I can trade. Yesterday, I had some time to trade, which was nice. And BBRY was the number one play I was watching because it had a lot of activity pre-market. And, it had this move based on, I guess it was like poor earnings. It went from green to red, meaning it dropped. This is the previous day's close price. It dropped below the previous day's close price, and it had this bounce. So when you get a dip like this, you're gonna get a bounce. You're always gonna get a bounce. You never know how much the bounce is gonna be, but you're gonna get a bounce. I actually caught the stock somewhere around this range, in the 1030 range, and I really watched it go up all the way up to about 1070, and then I saw it pull back down to 1028, forming that lower high, and then I saw it gap back up. So when I saw it gap up, it broke the 1070. And I was thinking, well, maybe this thing might do what's called a gap fill. When a stock collapses like this, sometimes it'll go back up and it'll fill the gap, all right, to where it previously started from. I wasn't sure which direction it was, but the news was poor. So my expectation was that the stock was going to collapse. So at this point, I'm watching it. I don't like to trade pre-market, but there was so much volume that I thought, you know what, it's okay to trade it. So I was going to take a short entry. So when I saw the stock slightly gap above that 1070 range and come back down, I saw this little dip down to 1045 and that bounce. So right into the bounce, I was going to short, risking 10 cents, which would have been a great trade. I tried to take 3,000 shares, so I was risking about $300, okay, to make, and I thought this would probably break below 10. So, to make, almost $3,000. Stupid me, because so Centerpoint runs on the Dash Trader platform. I'm still not comfortable with it because I'm so used to trading with TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim, and TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, and they don't. So when you make a trade using TD Ameritrade or E-Trade, you just put you're buying, you put your quantity, and you execute it, right? Well, with Centerpoint, with the Dash platform, especially with Centerpoint, you got all these access to all these different what's called market makers, direct access to them so that they can execute your trades for you. You got to pick one, and you can pre-select it. I'm still fiddling with it. So what I was doing was, I didn't realize was I was trying to short a market order, which you can't do pre-market. You have to put a limit order, and I didn't realize that. So, I was trying to make the trade, and it kept going, and I'm like, fuck, man, I would have made already. I would have been up. So at this time, between the time that I tried to execute, which was 8:30, and between 5 minutes, I would have been up already about almost $800. And I was so mad. So I didn't know why it wasn't working. I called Centerpoint. I got through Centerpoint. They're excellent customer service, and the executions are insane. I mean, they're super expensive, but they're worth the money. Trust me, because you always get shares to short pretty much for any stock you want, and the executions are lightning fast. So I got through the Centerpoint. They explained to me, well, you're supposed to place a limit order and not a market order. And then by the time I saw that, I saw the stock coming down, and it started, and I caught it. I want to say, so I see it dipping, and I got off the phone with Centerpoint, and I see it all bouncing up and then coming down, and I'm just watching it go down. And I thought about shorting right here, but I said, let me see if it breaks below 10. If it breaks below 10, then I feel more comfortable shorting it, risking 10. So that's what happened. So at this point here, it quickly dips below 10. So I put an order to short it, and I got executed like at 996. And I should have known better because the R side at this point was below 30. So you're gonna get a bounce. And you know, the stock started going against me, and I started seeing that it formed this doji. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe now it's gonna collapse, but it held that 1007, and then it quickly gapped up. Now I had this line here because this was the previous support level, and if I had the patience, you know, it did eventually come back down and collapse, and it came back up, and then the collapse happened. But you know, I covered my loss, which was like, I don't know, about $300, $330 at that point. And you know, I guess it was good that because that's what blows up accounts, is that you are not disciplined to cut your losses. Now, could I have, in 2020 hindsight, held and watched the collapse and made some good money? Yeah, because you know, even if I would have held strong through that whole, you know, double top and coming back down, yeah, I would have came out on top. I would have, you know, came out, you know, over $1,000, you know. Now, if I would have gotten my original entry, oh, forget about it. It would have been crazy. I would have made, you know, some great money, probably $2,000. But, you know, but the key that I want you to take away is don't be afraid to cut your losses. Take the small loss. You could always make the money back. You know, losses are a big part of trading. So, you know, and at this point, I could have watched it and waited to re-enter once it dipped below 10, but I just stopped trading it because my mental capital was messed up. So that was my first loss. Then I took a $90 loss, and only because I wasn't patient. Again, I was a little riled up from this trade and the lack of all the money I missed because I was so stupid, not realizing what I was doing. Was the next trade that I took was on I think it was what, CENX. No, this is the one I actually made money on. I want to find the one that CSIQ. So I took a $90 loss on this, and the stock did exactly what I expected it to do. I just did not have the patience again. So I watched the stock. You know, I'm looking through my scanners, looking for stocks that are gapping up because I love to short into washes. They're simple plays, easy money, you know, and it's very predictable. Bull market, bear market, same pattern. Okay, so you see the stock, right? That this thing went parabolic. It sold off quickly at the open. Found its support level of 1463 and just went on this crazy run all the way up. Now, I caught the stock somewhere over here, and I saw it right here. This hit the higher day, which was at 1098. So it was close to $16. So it was great. So I watched it come up. I watched it come down right here. And right here at, I think it was right. Where was it? Right here. I took a, no. It was, I want to say, yeah, right here, right in this candle, I got executed like at 1590, and I watched it. So you know, it starts going down, and I see it hits the low here of 1585. So great, you know, I'm up. I only took a 1,000 share position, so you know, I'm up $50. I'm like, great, you know, this is gonna collapse. My goal was to get it back to VWAP. And the stock all of a sudden starts getting some volume, and it pushes to 16, so I covered. I don't know why. I know better than this. You guys see all my videos. I always talk about 16 being a psychological resistance barrier. It's a whole number, and sometimes it's hard to break. And if you notice, it hit 16. It never broke above $16. So, you know, I should have held strong, but because I took that first loss and my mental capital was off, I showed no patience. And sure enough, the stock went off to do exactly what I thought it would do, which was bounce off VWAP. And you know, I would have covered somewhere in here, and you know, I would have made, if I was at 1590, so 30 cents, $300, and that would have wiped out my loss for the day. Easy play. But you know, I took that loss. But I was like, I'm not gonna finish Friday without a win. So you know, I'm just looking for another opportunity, just like this stock, which was on CENX. So I caught CENX. Ah, crap. It's back. I caught CENX right here where it was kind of gapping up. Actually, no, I caught it after it hit its high. So it was already on the downtrend. And right in here, I saw it come up, and I saw it double top here. So that gave me more comfort. I felt much more comfortable to short it. So I was waiting for the next lower high to form. Actually, I could have shorted it here and risked the 1495. But I just waited to see. So I saw that lower high form here, and I was like, all right, it didn't like gather any strength. So I took a short 1,000 share position, and I just watched it at 1485. I got executed and literally just watched this go down, forming lower highs along the way. It's below the 9 and 20, and sure enough, it hit a low of 1460. I was looking for that 1450 VWAP bounce, it never touched VWAP. I was so tight because that would have covered, I would have broke even had it done that. But then it started bouncing, and I saw some volume coming in, and it's gathering some strength, so I covered right in here, and I made like $130. So I was down originally like I don't know, like 4 and change, and my end of loss, that's the commissions and everything, was like $300. So those were my 3 trades, and what I learned from that is you gotta have some patience. Day trading is not easy. Most people lose their money. It requires a lot of mental discipline. You gotta be highly emotionally intelligent. You gotta trade the patterns. You gotta, these guys all bullshitting. They tell you see these guys post their huge wins, but they're not posting their huge losses. They're taking lots of losses too. Trust me. The goal is to have your losses be minimal and your gains, your runs be big, and that's how you make money day trading. If you focus on the patterns that I teach you guys, this is not that hard. Believe it or not, it's really not that hard. Especially shorting, which is what I prefer. But I long too, and I could have took a long position here, but I was honestly, once I saw it, gapping up, I could have took a high, I probably would have took a crack at it if I saw it break the high of day here, and it actually got up to over $15, and it's up 15.30 after hours. But I was done, I was done. This is draining, and I like to only trade the first 2 hours, of the market open. Usually that's the best when the most volatility happens. So there was a lot of plays, and I easily probably could have made my money back and then some, but I was done. Monday's another day. All right, so I'm gonna make another video building my watch list for Monday. I'm definitely, I could tell you now, the 2 big plays that I'm looking at Monday is AKS. I'm gonna look for a short there. There's gonna be a wash at some point, and probably Hertz, because they always give back their games big time. But I'm gonna start going long too, to show you guys that you can make money both ways. But I'm primarily a short seller. All right, so at least now. I used to be long only, so exclusively, but I've changed my position. So I hope you find this informative. Please follow me on Twitter and YouTube, and join, watchotrade, and make sure to join our community on Bullish Bears on Facebook. All right, folks, we're over 10,000 members now, which is great. Have a great weekend.